My name is Joe Osae-Addo. I'm from Ghana, West Africa, and I'm an architect by training, but I run ArchiAfrika, which is an organization dedicated to the exploration of the built and cultural spaces of Africa. Originally, it was really kind of focused, it was created by architects in Europe, so the focus was really on traditional and contemporary African buildings. A few years ago, we moved the organization to Ghana because we felt that it was ridiculous to have an Africa theme-based organization which was working out of Europe. So we are now in Accra, the capital city of Ghana, and the emphasis has really shifted to the understanding of the interplay between culture, design, and architecture, and how all that relates to the human condition. Well, we partner with cultural organizations, we partner with architectural organizations, and most importantly, we have created the ArchiAfrika Education Network. And this is very important because we look at how the schools of Africa in design and architecture must and can collaborate. So, for example, we held our first workshop and conference in Ghana 2 years ago, which was gladly sponsored by the Aga Khan Foundation. So it was the first time that the schools of architecture, the heads of the schools of architecture, actually had met together within a forum to discuss education, to understand the new context of Africa, and most importantly, how the synergies between our different environments and challenges can be harnessed to develop a new kind of young architect. So this is really important to the new contextual architect of Africa, who's about Africa and of Africa. I think what binds us is the recognition that African architects and designers and even artists are all trained in the Western idiom. In architecture, we're all kind of offshoots of the Bauhaus movement and so forth. But I think there's a great recognition now that context and culture matters. And so we're all in this search mode, so to speak, of the genius loci, so, of what makes a contextual African architecture. I don't think we're talking about creating edifices that speak of Africa, but we're looking at what is the fodder of ideas inspired by Africa and its needs and its climate and its materiality, which can shape some responses in architecture. And we are recognizing that we all have that similar need to kind of transition from the more colonial to a contemporary Africa that's, that is self-inspired and will create responses that are local but clearly contemporary and global in its outlook. Well, I had been involved with the Prince Claus for a while, and what I loved about the Prince Claus was the opportunity for me to engage beyond the realm of the built environment and get into the broader creative endeavor. I think this is where the built environment of Africa must learn from the musicians, from the poets, and from the artists and sculptors. This is the kernel of our inspiration, and I think there's traditionally been a separation between architecture, planning, and so forth, from the broader creative fields. I think the Prince Claus allows us to engage and meet people who are doing extraordinary things which can inspire the built environment. Nepal speaks to me. I mean, when I arrived at the airport, I really felt a certain kind of kinship, because the conditions of Ghana are very similar, just on the surface, to what I am experiencing here. And so I think Nepal reminds us, especially those of us in the so-called emerging economies, that we need to share ideas, because, for example, climatically, this is very similar to West Africa. Look at all the wonderful flora, the bamboo I see around here. This is what I'm used to. So I'm inspired by how it's being used here, the use of bricks and metal, and so all these things that exist in Ghana, which is not necessarily being used in the more kind of productive manner as you do. So I think Nepal, for me, it's a great resource for understanding how, with the same material base, with the same challenges, we can learn. So I think, to me, it's about an exchange of ideas. And one of the things I want to really establish is artisanship. I love the artisanship here. And how can we import some of that to, to kind of train our artisans who used to have these kind of skills, but it's a dying kind of course at the moment.